Hey guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this traveler's notebook wallet insert. All the information for this will be located over at my blog, which is charmedbyashley.com. So check out those links in the description box below. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go over the materials you will need. I am using two different types of fabric, and I will have two pieces for the main body of the bag. I will have two pieces, one slightly larger than the other, for the inside pocket. I will also have one piece for the pen loop, one long piece that is going to be my card slot, and then two other smaller pieces that will be for the lining of the zipper pouch. If you're new to Traveler's Notebooks, I will have some information in my blog showing you exactly what this is used for. I don't have a notebook on me as this was a request from a viewer, so I can't show you exactly how it functions, but I will have photos at my blog, charmedbyashley.com. So when you print out the pattern, you will have a very long piece, which is the credit card slot piece. I have measurements where you will fold the piece of paper in an accordion style, and then you can easily put that paper behind your piece of fabric and slowly iron each fold as you go. If you've measured it correctly, then you shouldn't have any leftover fabric at the end. So now I'm going to do my last fold, and you will have a total of 4 card slots. And then when you put this into the wallet, you will have a deep pocket also where you can put concert tickets, stickers, things like that. Okay, so then we're going to work on the behind the card slot piece. So I have two pieces, one larger than the other. The one that is larger, I will take that piece and put it with the right sides facing down, and I'm going to hem the one side. So I'm going to fold it in 1/4 inch, and then I will fold it in again about 1/2 inch, and then press that. You want to make it about 1/2 inch just because you will be tucking some fabric behind it. You will be putting this piece down, and then the credit card slots over top, and then that hem is going to cover all those fabrics to keep them all nice and secure. Okay, so from here I just took the credit card slots out again, and then I sewed a top stitch along each edge. Purely for cosmetic reasons, just to make it look a little bit cuter, a little bit more finished. And then after, I put it all back together and did a stitch along the hem there to secure all the pieces together. So I'm just going to show you how I did that quickly. I did it about 1 or 2 millimeters away from the edge. And if you wanted to do it in a different color thread, a contrasting thread, or a matching thread, it's totally up to you. But I definitely think it looks a lot nicer, especially if you plan on selling these. Okay, so now I'm just going to put it all back together. And then I will stitch down the side and try to make it nice and close to the edge, just because you don't want it to be able to flip back up again. You want it to be nice and laying flat. And then after this piece, you're just going to set that aside, and we can start installing our zipper. But before I install the zipper, I'm just going to quickly sew the pen loop, and that is your tiny piece of fabric, and I just folded that in half and sewed down the one edge, flipped it right sides out, and then I did a top stitch on either side just to finish it off, and then you can place that to one side as well. Okay, so now you're going to take your larger piece of fabric and place it on the table with the right sides facing up, take your zipper with the zipper pull facing down, place it along the right side edge. So if you're looking at the fabric the way that you want it to be when the product is finished, make sure it's on the right side. And then you're going to take the lining fabric piece, which should be a shorter piece but the same width, place that on top with the right side facing down, have all those edges lined up perfectly, and then you can clip that or pin that. Make sure that that is perfectly lined up, because if not, then your bag will end up being cockeyed or crooked. Okay, so from here I'm going to change my standard presser foot to the zipper foot just to make my life a little bit easier. If you have never used one before, I have other videos where I have a close-up of exactly how I use one, and I'll link those in the description box below. But I'm just going to do about 1/4 inch seam allowance here. I'm not going to go right to the teeth of the zipper, just a little bit away from it. And then after I've sewn down this side, I'm going to take the fabric and put it right sides out and then do a top stitch. And from here I'm going to make sure that the bottom fabric, which is the lining fabric, is pulled tight, and I'm going to take the top of the fabric, so the main body of the bag fabric, and I'm going to push that fabric into the teeth. I find that this gives it the nicest look. All that fabric that is on either side of the zipper is really pointless, and it's just used for you to sew onto. And it also will change the dimensions of your bag if you make that more visible. So we're going to make sure that we get as close to the teeth without going over, just so that we don't get the fabric caught in the teeth when we want to zip it. So from here we are going to do the same thing as we did before. This time I have the finished piece with the right sides facing up, and then I'll put the other large piece right sides facing down, so on top of that. So just do is exactly how I do, and then you won't mess up. And then I'm taking my lining fabric and I'll put that on the other side. So as long as you have, see, I have the lining fabrics are both touching, and then the outside of the bags both touching on the other side, and then that should be perfect. And then we're going to line that up and sew down that edge at 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we'll flip it right sides out, and the same thing as before, keeping the bottom a little bit tight, pushing that fabric into the teeth, and doing a top stitch about 1 millimeter. So hopefully that made sense. If you have any difficulties, I will have more photos which will be with the PDF pattern. So here is how it should look, and we can start to assemble so that we can finish it off. We're almost done. So just keep it with the right sides of the outer bag facing up, laying flat. Put the card slots to the left, and then fold over the right side of the body of the bag to have it with the right sides facing each other. And then you can go underneath and grab that lining piece and pull it out, and then you can line those up. So that's why when I talked about the zipper and using and making sure that the fabric is really close to the teeth, this is where your measurements can be off. So as you can see, everything is lining up perfectly, which I'm actually amazed at because I'm not the greatest sewer, but I was very pleased with how this one turned out. So I pinned it all the way around, and then I'm going to just take the pen loop and place it right above the card slots. If you have a specific pen that's going to be fitting in, you can size that accordingly. If not, just make it a little bit bigger than an average pen, and it should fit most pens. So I'm just going to place it in here and then pin, and then we can start sewing all the way around. So when you do sew all the way around, you will keep a 4-inch opening, which will be at the bottom of the zipper pouch. And then when you go past the zipper, where the zipper pull is, you're going to pull the zipper down and put the zipper inside. If you want to open the bag about halfway, that would be best. Just because you're going to need to have that open when you do turn it right sides out. So I'm just going to be doing a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance all the way around the whole entire bag. When I get to my zipper, I will fold it in half. In this way, hopefully you can tell what I'm doing. But the raw edges of the zipper, just make sure that those are lined up. And because this is where the zipper pull was, it is open, so the two pieces are, you know, not, they're just kind of all over the place. So you want to line up those two pieces really good, just so that when you finish the bag, the zipper will close very nicely. Okay, so you can go over your zipper teeth as long as you do have a nylon zipper. And I will continue along, and when you go past your credit card slot portion, make sure that all the pieces of fabric are catching. If you're not confident that all your fabric will catch, you can always take the whole entire piece over to your cutting table and just trim off until all of the fabric is perfectly even with each other. So I'm just going to keep going along and make sure you didn't close up the bag and you left a 4-inch gap. So I'm just going to cut off my excess zippers and the excess fabric, and I clipped off the corners to reduce the bulk, and I'm going to flip the whole entire bag right sides out. At this part it might be a little bit tricky, but you will have to stick your hands in it and try to open up the zipper all the way. That is the easiest way to turn it right sides out. Okay, and once you're done, you can just make sure all of the fabric is nice and flat, and then you're going to pull out the lining of the bag and do a top stitch to sew up that hole. And then you're pretty much done. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you make these, I would love to see them. Also share this on Pinterest, and also if you haven't seen the blog post yet, check that out at charmedbyashley.com. All the links are down below. And if you go over there, you will find a free pattern for a pocket wallet insert. So definitely check that out. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!